What's up, everyone? Let's jump right in. Today, we're doing something pretty unique. We're totally skipping the usual fluff and examining a piece of source material that is just so hyper-minimalist, so fundamentally concise, that it literally forces us to completely rethink how we analyze text. I mean it. Get ready, because this explainer is going to strip away everything you think you know and ask you to look incredibly closely at the absolute bare-bones basics.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here it is. The absolute entirety of our source text. Just really look at it for a second. FIFA World Cup. That's it. That's the whole shebang. You know, in a world that is just completely obsessed with endlessly long documents and overflowing data, we're confronted here with, honestly, profound brevity. It is an absolute masterclass in saying exactly what is required and absolutely nothing more.
To truly understand the architecture of this text, we actually have to start with the most basic metric possible, and that's the number 3. Our entire source consists of exactly 3 individual words, and when you're dealing with a text this sparse, man, every single word carries massive structural weight. We basically have to strip away all our outside preconceptions, all that cultural noise we bring to it, and focus strictly, and I mean rigorously, on what is actually written on the page. We have just 3 distinct lexical units carrying the entire burden of the text.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the text inherently splits itself into 2 completely distinct visual and grammatical identities. Look at the balance going on here. On the left side, we have FIFA, right? A monolithic all-caps acronym. It's stark, it's dense, it's visually imposing. And then, resting right there on the right side, we have World Cup, a descriptive noun phrase presented in traditional title case. So we essentially have the collision of a purely constructed bureaucratic abbreviation on one side, perfectly counterbalancing a broader, almost romantic descriptive concept on the other. It's kind of brilliant.
But to really appreciate the engineering of this phrase, we need to look even closer at its literal linguistic flow. We're talking about character count, the exact mathematical distribution of the letters used to construct each individual word. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, because when a text is this brief, the pacing of the syllables and the actual physical space each word occupies basically becomes the entire narrative. So let's look at the hidden math driving this source text.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what I mean about that mathematical pacing. Just look at the rhythm of the character counts here. 4, 5, 3. It's a fascinating little micro-narrative told purely through structural data. We start with a solid, sturdy base of 4 letters in that first bar. Then the text breathes, right? It reaches its maximum expansion at 5 letters in the middle bar. And finally, it sharply drops to a tight, focused 3-letter conclusion in the final bar. There is a literal rise and fall happening in the span of just 12 letters.
Let's move on and see how this builds the overall structural arc of the phrase, because the visual rhythm of the letters follows a highly specific, almost geometric journey. It opens with that rigid 4-letter acronym, establishing a really firm boundary. It then expands into a 5-letter word, broadening its linguistic footprint, and finally, it condenses sharply into a 3-letter conclusion. Actually, it's almost like the text breathes in and then just punches out. It is a completely deliberate progression across the page.
So the crucial point is this. When we come back to the unedited source text, when we view the phrase as a whole once again, it is no longer just a simple string of letters to us, is it? Having completed our micro-analysis, we can now appreciate its structural reality completely anew. We can actually see the grammatical tension between the acronym and the noun phrase. We can feel that 4-5-3 mathematical rhythm pulsing right beneath the surface. It is a perfectly balanced 12-letter structure, suspended meticulously by just 2 spaces.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. When a piece of text is stripped down to this extreme level of minimalism, it begs a really important question. What weight do these 3 words actually carry? How can exactly 12 letters and 2 spaces manage to stand entirely on their own? It's a massive testament to the power of extreme brevity. I really want you to take this analytical mindset with you today. Look closely at the simplest text around you and ask yourself, what structures are hiding in plain sight? Keep learning, keep analyzing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.